Hey everyone, this is Joe with Southeastern Frontiers, and today I'm backpacking for 2 nights and 3 days in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and we're hiking the Gregory Bald Loop via Shuckstack Mountain. And today I'm hiking with some friends and Jacob. This backpacking trip begins at the Twentymile Ranger Station in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. On day 1, we hiked along the Long Hungry Ridge Trail to Camp 92, Upper Flats. This is an easy 4.7 mile hike along an old road with bridges across all the big creek crossings. Campsite 92 is a large flat site with streams running on both sides of it. It is a lovely place. On day 2, we backtracked a little and began our ascent of Shuckstack Mountain. This is a steep climb of about 15% grade for 1.8 miles, ending at Sassafras Gap. We encountered our first 2 bears on this segment. While we rested, Jacob and Thomas climbed up the remainder of Shuckstack Mountain and climbed the old fire tower there for some awesome views. At this point, we took the Appalachian Trail for 3.1 miles up to the spine of the Smokies. Here, we left the Appalachian Trail behind and started following the ridge towards Gregory Bald. There is 1 downhill part and then 3 very steep uphill parts with some spacing between them. We ran into our 3rd bear along this segment and the weather turned rainy on us. Finally, we reached Gregory Bald late in the afternoon. The rain had stopped, but we were deep inside a cloud and there was no visibility. We then descended a half mile down to Campsite 13, Sheep Pen Gap, for our 4th bear sighting and the end of day 2. On day 3, we first hiked over to Parsons Bald, which isn't bald as far as we can tell, and then began a long, steep descent down a very well-designed and maintained trail down to Camp 95. From Camp 95, the slope is less steep, and you follow along a stream with 5 log bridge crossings until finally we return to our starting point at the Twentymile Ranger Station. All in all, it was an excellent adventure with beautiful scenery and bears. The rain was a bit of a downer, but it was a good excuse to come back and try the Gregory Bald again someday. Here we are at the 20-mile trailhead in Ranger Station in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, about to begin our hike. The parking area is just beyond the Ranger Station. There's spots here for a few cars, and there aren't many people here today, so we're gonna get going. All right, we are starting up the trail. We're taking the Long Hungry Ridge Trail. Long Hungry Ridge. That sounds appealing, doesn't it? A long, hungry trail. Our first bridge. I believe we will have many. All right, we've come in about a half mile. The 20-mile Ranger Station's behind us. We're taking the Long Hungry Ridge Trail to the right, off that way. And that eventually would lead to the Appalachian Trail. We won't make it there today. The other trail here is the trail up to Gregory's Bald, the short way, but the steep way. We're gonna come back out that direction. So off we go. Just after getting on the Long Hungry Trail down to the 20-mile Cascades. So we're gonna go down and check that out. There's the 20-mile Cascades. Kind of nice. The first part of this hike, along the 20-mile creek, along the Long Hungry Trail, which is actually an old road, as you can see. So it's pretty easy. It's a very steady climb, about 6% grade. Not too bad today. Tomorrow is what's going to kick our butt. Tomorrow we're climbing up to Shuckstack Mountain and then going along the Appalachian Trail up to the spine of the Smokies, and then we'll head down to Gregory's Bald by late afternoon, and we're going to be camping up there tomorrow night at campsite 13 Sheep Pen Gap. And then on Thursday we will come down the steep way right back to where we started here at Twentymile Ranger Station. We're spending most of the day walking along beautiful 20-Mile Creek here. Lots of cascades. Very nice. There's a big snail. All right, we have reached campsite 93, which is not where we're staying tonight, but this is a campsite right along the trail. You can see the bare cable system there. We are continuing on up the trail that way. At many places along the long, hungry trail, the trail crosses the 20-Mile Creek on some bridges. So that makes it nice and easy. Wide bridges, easy to cross. All right, we have come to a trail junction. So this sign says the Appalachian Trail is that way, 1.7 miles, very steep climb. 20-Mile Ranger Station is where we just came from. It's actually 3.5 miles, not 3. Sign's lying a little bit. And over here, we have the Long Hungry Ridge Trail. And that eventually would lead to the Gregory Bald Trail. We're going to go down the Long Hungry Trail a ways, but just far enough to reach a campsite. We're not going all the way on that one. And then this one over here is the Wolf Ridge Trail. So the Wolf Ridge Trail goes steeply down to the left here. That takes you back to the 20-Mile Ranger Station as well. The middle trail here is the one we want. That's the Long Hungry Ridge Trail. And the one up there is the one we'll take tomorrow to go up to Shuckstack Mountain. After the intersection at the Proctor Flats, the Long Hungry Trail is still not too hard. Still decently wide. It's a little overgrown in places I've seen already, but not too bad. There are 3 creek crossings. The first one was trivial. We'll see how the rest of them go. This is our second creek crossing. That's not too bad. I maybe don't even need poles for it. We'll see. Because I'm holding the camera. No problem. Well, that last one was a bit of a doozy. Very nice. The next creek crossing should be our campsite. That was the 3rd creek crossing and I forgot to record it. It was pretty easy. No problems. So we are now upon our campsite. This is campsite 92, Upper Flats.
Looks like someone's doing some good work for us.
Ooh, some firewood and some little sticks. I like this big sitting log. Wow, it's a pretty big campsite because there's spots over there too, and a ring. Long Hungry Ridge Trail continues on that way. If you wanted to go all the way up to Gregory's Bald up by the short steep route, there's some spots over there. And I suspect we'll make use of the spots over here. Got my tent set up. Got my Tillac chair here that I love so much. So we are getting our campsite all set up here. We've decided we're going to have our fire over here in this fire ring, and our tents are going to be over there. And we're going to hang our bags on the cables here, the cable system that the National Park Service has. So, all very good. How was the water, Jacob?
Cold?
What the heck did you do?
He jumped in. And this is the creek on the other side of our campsite. And that's the long, hungry trail continuing off over there.
Almost.
Yeah, they're good for instant potatoes, I'll say that. I'm just not a fan of cheesy potatoes.
Watch is real helpful. I can see that
Time to make coffee. And sugar and milk
sugar.
and whatever else they mix into that packet. Mostly sugar, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Good stuff, huh?
Oh yeah.
Our campsite is mostly packed up and we are about ready to go. We'll be hitting the trail shortly. All right, we are heading out, departing camp here.
I bet you're gonna cut off. Oh wait, yeah. Well, they had a great night's sleep in their warm bed. We had slept in a tent.
Yeah, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, it feels like a fucking Bronco.
All right, we got to cross our first creek crossing right off the bat. We are backtracking a little today. We're going to go about a mile back the way we came.
Go the short way. Yeah, short leg. Just trying to get those feet wet. Yeah, you're good.
Off we go. All right, we have returned to the intersection of the three trails. Jacob's little cairn of rocks is still here. So we are going to be heading uphill to the Appalachian Trail. If only it were 1.7 miles. I think it's further than that. It's more like 2.7, right? But that's the direction. So as soon as everyone gets here, we'll get going. We are starting to head up the trail to the Appalachian Trail. So basically we have to climb Shuckstack Mountain. It's going to be steep, very steep. So we got about 2 miles to go to get there. Let's go. The trail is steep, but well maintained. Obviously it used to be a road. It's starting to kick my butt. Gonna have to go slow. Let the young guys pile on ahead. Up and up we go. I think the top is right around the corner over there though. I believe we made it. Thomas is up here waiting. Woo! The Appalachian Trail. It's almost chilly up here with the breeze blowing. 3.1 miles to the Gregory Bald Trail. We just came up the long Hungry Ridge Trail from the 20-mile Ranger Station yesterday. And that little trail down there goes down to the Lost Cove Trail. So anyway, once we rest a bit, we were going to follow the Appalachian Trail that way and follow the white blazes.
Alrighty, so the old guys are waiting back at the intersection, and we are tasked with finding some fire tower, supposedly. So we're going up again, just what I wanted, but
At least we get to go down on the way back.
supposedly there's a fire tower somewhere up there.
Yeah, this is about like twice as high as the one last time.
Oh my God, look at that. Fuck, dude. Alright, here's the sketchy one. And it is breezy up here. Yes. Thomas is making it this for a sketch, but like it's holding, so. Whoa. Oh my God. Nothing like feeling the good old sway of the fire tower.
I'm not a lineman. Never will be.
Golly. Alrighty. We are headed back down.
That one feels really warm.
Yeah.
We're not standing completely out of the tree line.
This is the Birch Spring campsite. Very interesting. Little flat spots all over on the sides of pretty steep slopes. So the boys are down there gathering some water. All right, I'm heading back up to the AT. We're hiking along east of Birch Gap Campground. There's some ups and downs here. We're about to go down a steep down, and there's a light rain. So that's always fun. But I think somehow we got to get way up there on top of the ridge. So we got a lot of uphill to do yet too. There are some pretty purple flowers along the trail here. Very nice. I'm starting to get filtered views out through the trees. I can see Gregory's Bald way out there in the distance. That's where I'm headed. Woohoo! We have reached the crest, the ridge line of the Smokies. So the Appalachian Trail goes off to the right, but we're going to leave the Appalachian Trail. We just came up from basically the intersection with the Lost Cove Trail, and we are going to be heading towards the Gregory Ridge Trail and head for Gregory Bald. All right, we've rested and are about to hit the trail again.
And I'm not ready for this.
And you're not ready for this.
I'm about to collapse.
We are going to go down the Gregory Bald Trail.
How far? 3.5 miles?
About
1,000 more feet-ish of elevation?
off this way. Rain has picked up a bit. Had to put our rain gear on. We are just shy of Gregory's Bald, I think. Just not much further, but it is really raining. In a cloud. I'm afraid we're not going to see much. Yep. We have reached the intersection with the Long Hungry Ridge Trail. We actually camped down there last night, and yeah, 7.5 miles if you go that way to the car. But we're not going that way. We're continuing on the Gregory Bald Trail, not that you can read a thing on it. All right, we have reached the Gregory Ridge Trail, which goes down eventually to Cades Cove off that direction. But we're going to continue up this way on the Gregory Bald Trail, up and up and up and up. There's also a little side trail here that says H2O with an arrow. So that will lead to the old Moore Spring. There used to be a shelter there. It's not there anymore, but some people go there to get water. But we should be good. All right, we have come to Gregory's Bald. Isn't that an amazing sight? We are high in a cloud, but we'll hike across it and go to our campsite probably. All right, we are on Gregory's Bald somewhere. Hi guys. Yeah, the summit's right here, right?
Yep.
Are you worshiping the summit of Gregory's Bald here?
I am.
Gotta polish it.
Woohoo!
Is this where we're camping?
No.
It's the top, buddy.
It's the top.
Top.
Right.
We have made it to Sheep Pen Gap. So we just came down off Gregory Bald on the Gregory Bald Trail, which continues off that way and goes down. But we're going to set up camp here at Sheep Pen Gap at the campsite. And tomorrow we'll be taking the Wolf Ridge Trail down, 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 down. Let's see what the campsite looks like.
As I recall, there are some good sites down here closer to the water.
Okay, cool.
That's where we were. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we have the place all to ourselves, at least so far.
At 6 o'clock in the evening. This.
Nice.
So the water's just down.
Yeah, the water's just down there.
Oh, bear.
Where? Where?
Oh, whoa, whoa.
I saw it move. Either that or it was a deer, but it was black. Hey, bear.
Hey, bear.
I mean, it was running, but...
This is our campsite tonight here at Sheep Pen Gap, and we're all set up here. The boys are down at the spring getting water. I guess it's a really slow trickle, so it's taking them a while. Either that or the bear got them. We saw a bear when we first walked into camp. I didn't see it, but the boys did. It took off downhill when we walked up. Tonight's dinner is chili mac with beef. Got the water heating. With much difficulty and wet wood, Jacob and Thomas were able to get the fire going. So now they're boiling some water on it.
Gotta use it for something.
The most depressing sound in a hiker's life. It is a rainy morning as we're trying to pack up. Yeah, I still have to put my whole tent away and it's starting to rain again. I would wait till it rains to pack my tent up. What are your thoughts on our wonderful adventure?
I don't like it.
It's cold and wet, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, I thought I
That
was
might
gonna,
not be the
you know,
best time to ask.
have a nice, 10, 15 mile hike. That's it. But no, it's 21 miles. Thanks.
And raining.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
And
bears.
bears.
And bears. How many bears did we see?
Like 3 or 4.
4, I think.
Well, if what you saw was a bear and what Jake saw was a bear, there's 4 bears.
Yeah, 4 bears. I didn't get any of them on camera. They all tore off through the woods, except one that wouldn't let you guys down the trail, but you didn't have the camera.
Did you actually see any bears?
I only saw the one tear off through the bushes when we were coming up Shuckstack. All right, are the happy campers ready to go?
Oh yeah.
The happy campers, that's right.
Hey, it's only 7 miles today. That's nothing compared to last
6.5 to 7 miles to the bottom.
Think of the stories we can tell.
That's
yeah.
right. Off we go.
It'll only get better with time.
We'll go, and then we fought off the bear. And it was pouring rain. We couldn't even see the bear because the fog was so thick.
All right, Wolf Ridge Trail to Parsons Bald first in a 0.8 of a mile, and then all the way to the bottom, which isn't even on the map, on the chart. So, all right, let's go. We're getting the full Smoky Mountain experience here. It's kind of pretty in a ominous sort of way, as Jacob just said a little bit ago.
Hey, bear!
We need to call out to warn the bears we're coming. We don't want to surprise any more than we need to. Woohoo! Feel like you came out into heaven, huh?
Yeah.
Wolf Ridge Trail. Gregory Bald's behind us. 20-mile Ranger Station in 6.2 miles. This is Parsons Bald. Not very bald.
Yeah.
I think there's supposed to be a viewpoint to the east somewhere, but
I mean, I doubt we can.
and we came out of the fog. I don't know if we're above the clouds or below the clouds,
I think we're above.
because there's fog behind us
Yep.
and there's clouds way high above us. We have begun the descent down the mountain now. Down we go for a long time today. All right, we have reached the Dalton branch. This is where campsite 95 is, up that trail. We're not going to go up there, but this marks basically halfway down to the bottom. It has been a steep descent and it will continue. We are now hiking along Dalton branch, just down a hill from campsite 95.
You know what kind of scares me? You still got 800 feet to drop,
Uh-huh.
and it's fairly, it's not very steep from here.
And 20 miles. Wait.
Oh, that's a 20 mile.
All right, so that's the 20-mile loop trail. We just came down the Wolf Ridge Trail. Only 1.6 miles to the ranger station, guys.
Really?
Yeah, really. Woo!
Why does it say the 20-mile trail is 2.9 miles?
So that's, I think, the one that joins up at the Proctor Field. Remember where there were 3 trails split off, and I said people do a day loop?
That's this.
That's it.
So we go that way.
We go that way.
This way?
Yep, that way.
All
Our
right.
first creek crossing.
I think I'm gonna rock hop it since
I'll walk it.
You gonna walk it?
Is it
How good's your
safe?
balance?
Just stick your arms out.
Stick your arms out so you can balance.
You'll just make it fine.
Just walk.
Just walk like normal.
Just walk like normal. Don't go too slow. Just go.
There you go.
Awesome. And this one you can also rock hop. Woo!
Oh, there it goes.
We got another one right here.
Oh, we got another one right away, huh? Oh, wow, a double. This one's got a handle. Very nice. That's kind of fun.
I'll say it's a lot better than fording it without the bridge.
Yep.
Yeah, those were not bad bridges.
Here's our third creek crossing. Wow, this is a big creek crossing. Very exciting.
Biggest log bridge I got.
Crossing yet another log bridge. This one's a little wider. Not so bad. Very pretty. The cascades along the creek here are very pretty. All along here. It's been beautiful. And once we got below campsite 95, the slope wasn't so bad. We went from a 15% slope above that to a 6%. Way better. Woo! We've seen this sign before.
Just 2 nights ago.
Just 2 days ago, yes. Yeah, we went off that direction.
That is a taste of sweet victory right there.
Yeah.
All right, so we only have a half mile back to the car. Yep. Woo!
Pack is not staying on long.
Yay!
He's the first through the finish line. All right, we have returned to the parking area. So this completes our 2-night, 3-day trek around Gregory Bald. So it has been an adventure. It's been a little damp, but it's been fun.